let's establish one thing really, really early. I love Halo. It is permanently on my body. I breathe Halo. If there are no Halo fans left, I'm dead. This is all to set up that at the end of the day, I'm going to be a bit biased because I love this franchise. I'm going to split this up into 3 sections and then kind of bring everything together and let you know whether I think that you, specifically, should play this game. I've been playing the remake early thanks to the Deluxe Edition upgrade, and with my first couple of days in this game, I've sorted my thoughts into the good, the bad, and the nitpicks. Let's start with the good because, spoiler alert, this is easily the biggest section. If you've never played a Halo game and you want to start, I'm not going to suggest this is the definitive way to experience Halo 1, but outside of busting out an original Xbox and finding a nice CRT TV and pretending it's 2001, this is a pretty good alternative. This is the most accessible Halo has ever been. Between releasing on all major platforms, sorry Nintendo, and the absolute wealth of customizable settings to make it work for you, this is a really simple to start entry point for newcomers to the series. For something that's immediately apparent and is kind of the whole thing carrying this remake on its back, we have a Halo game that looks like it was released in the year it was released in. It's almost like playing in the Halo 2 anniversary cutscenes. It's that good, and we all like those. The lighting is superb. Truth and Reconciliation specifically has never looked this good. Even 343 Guilty Spark, the level everyone was worried about with Anniversary, didn't look so good. The lighting's off, the horror vibe's gone. It's back, and it is spooky. Some of the visuals and the foes in later levels, Halo veterans know what I'm talking about, are the best they've ever looked. They are properly disgusting, and it is perfect. And the sounds. The guns are incredible. The sound design here is perfect. There's an ice cave in Assault in the Control Room where the Scorpion cannon just reverberates around and it sounds incredible. I spent a few minutes just sitting there just shooting the gun.
Hey, Roma, you friend! Show me what you got! Who wants a piece of me?
The upgraded graphics and the sound design more than carry the remake, but it's not just that. For me, I felt that it played beautifully. If some of the early rumours were true, where this was essentially just a test for Halo Studios contractors to see if they could make a game feel like Halo in the Unreal Engine before moving on to new stuff, bang job. This is incredible. Do more of this. I don't know what they've done to tune the difficulty, but I felt that the solo heroic experience was perfectly balanced. I'm not brave or insane enough to try Legendary as my blind run of this, but I have enough experience in the franchise that I knew normal wasn't going to do it for me. I felt like this was perfect. Every time I died, it was my fault. It wasn't a complete stomp, but it wasn't a pushover either. I was really pleased with the way solo heroic felt. They've also added a bit of variety in the enemy types and the weaponry. Jackal snipers have been taken from the rest of the franchise and kind of brought back here, and they add so much more to the gameplay. We can finally use the energy sword and the fuel rod cannon in Halo 1, which is great because especially the energy sword feels like such a franchise staple at this point. Bottom line, new additions to the enemy variety and the weapon sandbox really round out this game for me without bloating things too much. It feels like every gun exists for a niche that isn't totally overlapped by a similar gun with a different colour scheme, which I know was a bit of a complaint with the 343 era. Remember Halo 4 had the battle rifle, and the DMR, and the carbine, and the light rifle. Everything here feels deliberate and like it has a purpose. I also really like the handful of extra scenes we got with some of the new cutscenes, showing a bit more of the battle outside the Pillar of Autumn helps add a grander scale to everything. Chief has this little puck that he sits down a few times to give Cortana a physical presence in some of the cutscenes. At first I thought it was a little strange because I was wondering why they didn't just have Cortana appear beside his head, and then I realised I was thinking of Red vs. Blue and not actually something that happens in any of the Halo games. So then I was okay with it. It does feel a little bit strange, but the end result of giving Cortana a bit more of a presence and making her, and any cutscenes involving her, just that little bit more dynamic, that's fine. I also really like they went and updated a few things here and there to make the continuity flow a little bit nicer into the future games. Johnson just doesn't show up as a random Marine spawn anymore. He's used a bit more deliberately, which is really good, because in the original 2001 release, he would just show up in Assault on the Control Room, even though canonically he was supposed to be somewhere else in a swamp with keys on the next level. So they've kind of changed that. Speaking of keys, when he hands his Magnum to Chief at the start of the game, he says that he wants the pistol to make it back to his daughter. Now, it's sad we've lost the...
Don't keep it loaded, son. You'll have to find ammo as you go.
But I do like they've taken 25 years worth of world building and tried to add little bits here and there back to the first game to try and make that all that little bit more connected. And while trying to dance around some spoilers here, I love towards the end of the second last mission, Keys, they added some dialogue from probably the only part of Halo Anniversary that was universally liked, which is the terminal involving Keys and his service number. Trying to keep it a bit vague for any spoiler reasons, but if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. To top off all this praise, I think that they've made the library a bit better. It's a bit clearer on where to go and what to do, and it's a bit more visually interesting. Each floor looks a little bit different to the last, and you see a bit more of what's been unleashed on Halo. Somehow they've balanced between keeping it clear and straightforward while still keeping the original feeling of that gauntlet from the original game. It's really well done, and it could be my highlight of the game outside of the stunning visuals, of course. Now, this game isn't perfect. No Halo game is. Well, outside of... There are a few things I didn't like. Let's start with the one everyone's talking about, Cortana. Specifically her vocal direction for me. It's weird because some of the lines are fine, there's new intonation.
I've picked up reports that the Covenant have located and secured the Pillar of Autumn's crash site. The good news is the Captain is still alive. The bad news is that the Covenant have captured the entire surviving command crew.
Alright, I'm making noise!
But overall, I miss my sassy, almost British 2001 era Cortana.
Cortana did her best, but we never really had a chance.
A dozen Covenant superior battleships against a single Halcyon-class cruiser. With those odds, I'm content with 3. Make that 4 kills. Sleep well?
No thanks to your driving, yes.
So you did miss me.
Cortana did her best, but we never really had a chance.
A dozen Covenant superior battleships against a single Halcyon-class cruiser. With those odds, I'm content with 3. Make that 4 kills. Sleep well?
No thanks to your driving, yes.
So you did miss me.
That means you too, Cortana.
While you do what? Go down with the ship?
In a manner of speaking.
That means you too, Cortana.
While you do what? Go down with the ship?
In a manner of speaking.
Your architecture isn't much different from the Autumn's.
Don't get any funny ideas.
Your architecture isn't that much different from the Autumn's.
Don't get any funny ideas.
This new chirpy Cortana sounds too much like the weapon from Infinite for me, and I was okay with the direction then because it kind of made sense for the story, but here it's a little bit more strange. The only way it would make sense is if they do something that I do not see them going for, where she becomes more and more like our classic Cortana if they were to do a Halo 2 and 3 remake, but I don't see it happening. I just think we are living with chirpy Cortana now. I don't think it's awful or anything. Part of it might just be because I've lived with the original recordings for so long and hearing anything different's always going to sound weird to me. But on the other hand, I don't have this issue with the new Keys, the new Johnson, or even the re-recorded Chief lines. The other issue is I'm not huge on losing the health system from the original game. The remake has gone with a health and shield system where both are essentially just regenerating bars on your screen. It's just that one regenerates a little bit faster than the other. I really love the system from 1 and Reach where you have these regenerating shields and then underneath that little blocks of health that only regenerate if you can get to a med pack or something. I like the tense combat you get when you have next to nothing in terms of health, but you still have a full shield, so maybe you have just enough to risk it all in one big push and melee that elite in the face, but maybe you risk it all and lose. You lose a little bit of that feeling when you have essentially 2 flavors of health that just heal when you don't get shot for a bit. You just need to sit out of cover for a little bit. And now that we're on to some of the gameplay complaints, the excessive hand-holding and the HUD markers are just crazy to me. I guess the complaints about people getting a little bit lost in Halo 1 really got to the devs and they wanted to fix it, because I always feel like I have a nav marker telling me where to go next. I know the original game had those too, but I feel like they're a little bit more prevalent here. I could be off, but I really think that it's more. And there's these little markers above every single dropped weapon within a 5 meter radius, and it's just a bit much for me. Maybe it's to easily differentiate between what's an empty, unusable weapon and what's able to be picked up, but whenever I notice it, it throws me off for a bit. Thankfully, it's only when I notice it, kind of fades into the background in most fights and I'm not always thinking about it, but whenever a fight ends, I just see all these little dots around and it really throws me out. Now, I could be wrong about this, but I feel like there's more lines of dialogue that tell you how to do something. First time you pick up an overshield or an invisibility pickup, Cortana chirps up to let you know that she's adding custom firmware to your suit and she's going to integrate you with Covenant technology. Now you have this little extra ability you can use as long as you press the right bumper. And it just tells me too much. I feel like in the original game, as a kid, you just walked onto the cube and your shields went up and you went, oh, nice. And you didn't think about it until the next time you replayed about it and you were like, oh, okay, I think I know what this does now. When you first come across Hunter, she tells you to shoot their exposed worm bits. It could be that I'm more perceptive of this sort of stuff now, and I didn't really care at all when I was 5 playing through it for the first time, because back then it was useful information, and now I just I know these things, but I don't remember these lines being in the original game. I could be wrong. If you're a new player and these lines managed to teach you something that you wouldn't have otherwise figured out and they were useful, let me know, because in that case it is a good thing, but I'm not too sure it's actually going to be helping anyone. But if it is, thumbs up. Possibly one of my biggest complaints at the moment is that as of recording, we are just in the kind of the deluxe edition early access at the moment, full game's not out, but as of recording, there's no way to unlock skins in this game as far as I can see. There's skins for buying the deluxe edition, there's skins for pre-ordering, there's skins for putting in a code on Waypoint, there's skins for Twitch drops, but there's no skins tied to any achievements or anything as far as I've seen. And that's a shame because we do have some really cool achievements here, like doing Silent Cartographer without like jumping or meleeing or shooting or throwing a grenade or anything like that. Stuff like that's like a real challenge and just an interesting way to play. We've got the infamous Lasso, we've got the regular old Legendary, and we've got Remix mode, which I haven't even talked about yet. And we have all these new ways to play the game, but not one of them unlocks a cool skin. Even in the bonus missions, we've got, I think, Mark IV armor, we've got like this cool new stuff. You can't use it anywhere else. I mean, come on. Something about this gets me more than anything else that I've talked about. The vocal direction, the changes to health, I can live with those. They're kind of whatever, but this just seems really weird to me. Moving on to my nitpicks now. These aren't issues that detract from the overall experience at all, but they still bugged me enough to bring up here to show you the level of pettiness that we are on here. I'm mad that Cortana's blue. I know that she's blue in every other game, but just give me Halo 1, purple Cortana with the little short hair, iconic look. And you guys had a callback to this in Infinite, so don't tell me that in the last 5 years you've forgotten about purple Cortana. Another little petty thing from me, I know that the Pillar of Autumn's under attack by multiple Covenant battleships and things aren't going well, but boy does this Halcyon class cruiser shake. The screen shake on this level alone almost made me turn it off for the whole game, but it is legitimately just the first level, everything else is fine. I'm just warning you for when you go into it. You're going to be tempted to turn off the screen shake because it is terrible, but stay strong because it gets better immediately as soon as you get to the ring. You just get out of the Pillar of Autumn and it is fine. Also, I miss video terminals. The text ones are fine. I'm used to reading content. I am a Destiny fan, but I really miss the animated sequences we would get. Some of those ones are really pretty, and it was just a new way to show off like a different style. It was just interesting. Yeah, not too many nitpicks, but I just had to get these things off my chest. I really needed to talk about Blue Cortana. Why is she blue? Before we get on to the final verdict, I should probably talk about the two actually new things in this remake. There's Campaign Remix and the bonus missions. Campaign Remix seems like it's designed to be kind of a mess around game to play with your buds or just something to do. It randomizes all the weapons and the enemy spawns, so you've got a completely different experience every time you play through this campaign. You can also press like a little button that randomly generates a selection of skulls to use out of all the ones you've collected. Instead of the novelty of 1 or 2 missions as to test it out, or just going for all of the achievements connected to this, I don't see solo players sticking around this mode for too long. I could be wrong, and maybe you'll love it, but I really think this game mode is designed to be the perfect co-op fuck-around game. Now for the bonus missions, the only entirely new content for this game, and overall I liked them. This is the first bit of playable Halo we've gotten in about 5 years, so I get why some people are a little underwhelmed that we just got 3 missions. Having said that, they are really fun. And they're really interesting too. To contrast with the usual purple that we see on the inside of Covenant ships, there's a few rooms here that are white and gold, and they are striking. It is so pretty. Just through the architecture and the design of some of the enemies in this level, you get the feeling that the new prophet they've introduced here, the Minister of Harmony, is this kind of rogue element that's kind of doing his own things within the bounds of the Covenant. He's really interesting. You have elites that have their whole heads exposed and are wearing these essentially like little armored robes, and grunts that are really armored up. It's really interesting. Everything is so different to how we normally see it, and I really liked that. There's a new brute enrage mechanic here that they introduced, which I think is really cool. These brutes only go berserk if you attack this little crit spot on their chest, but they have the chance of attacking their allies too. You can use this to your advantage to kind of create your own backup, but then you've got the trade-off because you have this massive crazed steroid gorilla that's probably going to win and then come after you, and now he's tougher and he's harder to kill, but worth it in the short term, I guess. Halo gameplay has always been its best when you are just locked in a room with a bunch of toys and you can play it how you want. That's why the Scarab missions in Halo 3 are everyone's favorite, because you can just tackle them so many different ways. Typically, all of those toys are just cool vehicles, but this adds a bit more dynamic gameplay to the infantry sections as well. With all that said, what do I actually think? Well, I'm probably going to split this up into two distinct groups, because I think that there's two distinct groups of people that are going to be coming to play this game. We've got people that have never played a Halo game before in their life, or at the very least have very little passing knowledge of it, like maybe they played it at a friend's house a million years ago. Or you've got my people, which is people that have been playing this franchise for decades at this point, and we love Halo and we just want more content. This game has something for each of those groups, but maybe not enough for one of them. First up, we got the new guys and the greenhorns who wanted to see Covenant up close. Actually no, Sergeant Johnson did say it the best.
This is gonna be your lucky day.
With the unbelievable visuals, the gameplay source, and a wide range of platforms so anyone can kind of jump in here, I think this is an easy yes. There's a reason this game kicked off a franchise and absolutely carried the entire Xbox lineage on its back. None of the negatives I've said outweigh the positives in such a way that I think you shouldn't grab this game. I think if you've ever been curious about Halo, or you just like first-person shooters, this is a must-buy. Especially since good split-screen games are hard to come by. Now, for all the veterans out there, for those of us who've been playing Halo from the very start, what about us? This may come as a shock, but your opinion on the Halo 1 remake will depend on your opinion on Halo 1. This could theoretically be the fourth time you're buying Halo 1. We've got the original release in 2001, we've got the anniversary in 2011, Master Chief Collection in 2014, and now this in 2026. That's 4 different purchases. Even with the sandbox editions and the extra variety, this game is still Halo 1 at its core. If you really love Halo 1, out of the 3 retreads we've had, this is at least the most unique, so I think there's some value in that. But if you don't want to buy and play Halo 1 again, then I'm not sure if the bonus missions are worth picking up at full price right now. Maybe wait for a sale, or if you've got Game Pass on your preferred platform, then maybe just grab a month of that or something just to try those out, because I still think the bonus missions are worth playing. They're still good, but they're not worth grabbing it for full price if you have no interest in Halo 1. But if you're okay with playing Halo 1 again, and you did like that game, then this is a no-brainer. It's still Halo 1. It is still good. Thank you so much for sticking with me while I kind of ramble about one of my favorite franchises. I just had to kind of put something out because there's so much chatter about this remake, and I just wanted to kind of get my thoughts on there, because I think there are some really bad faith takes, but I don't think everyone that's just purely going on as positive is right either. I think there's a bit of a mixed bag here, but I really do think overall the positives easily outweigh the negatives. If this is your first time playing Halo, tell me if this remake works for you, and if you were interested to see more just purely based on this game. I would love to know your thoughts. Well, there's still a few achievements I want to grab, so I'm probably going to go get started on those now. Bye guys!